Okay. Good morning to Beach Bum. We know you can't stay, but I can stay. Good morning to you, Beach Bum. Good morning to Greg. And good morning to everyone else who may be entering the chat room at this very moment. We are live from the First Pitch Forum in Mesa, Arizona. Had a great day yesterday. We'll be getting started in just a minute. Just wanted to say hello to Beach Bum. Good morning to you, Mal Pal. Just sent Mal Pal an email. We're going to be seeing Mal Pal on Tuesday. And Mal Pal, I just sent you a message. See if you could answer that one. It would, no big deal. Just wanted to feel you out, and if you can, leave me your phone number, okay? So there you go, Beach Bum, Greg, Malpal, we're here. Andy's on the road trying to get some breakfast. We can't wait for breakfast to open up at the restaurant, so Andy's out there trying to do whatever she can. Okay, a lot of stuff going on, so let's get right to it. And Joe Girardi, we'll get to the playoffs in a second, but I'm fascinated with this. The reports are that Joe Girardi finished an 8-hour interview with the Cubs on Wednesday. Now, I've done plenty of interviews. I've been interviewed. I have done the interviews. Why would Joe... What could they ask Joe? 8 hours? 8-hour interview with a man who's got such a track record already. What could they possibly be going over in 8 hours? Good morning to Unholy Toledo, who has just joined us. Why would Joe Girardi need an 8-hour interview? I mean, what could they ask him? Who's on first? What's on second? Good morning to Meckert, who has joined us once again. Good morning to you, Meckert. So Joe Girardi went through an 8-hour interview, 8 hours with the Chicago Cubs, and let's see what happens with that. I'm not surprised about Girardi and the Cubs, but 8 hours. I mean, David Ross is being interviewed, and a couple of others. Carlos Beltran is also on the list, who I think will wind up with the Mets. Okay, so we'll see about that. And of course, this kid Ryan Helsley, who has got a lot of blowback from his opinions on the tomahawk chop. Some of it's very racist, right? But I'll tell you what, the Atlanta Braves are listening, and they have already removed a lot of the tomahawk stuff from the stadium. I don't know, a little sensitive. Not even going to comment on it, but it's amazing how one pitcher, one player, and his remarks made such a big difference. Okay, on to the important stuff. The division series is a coin flip. Wild card game winners are 33 and 34 in division series games since the current format started somewhere, I think it was 2012. Home teams are now 56 and 60 in winner-take-all postseason games, and only 3 teams have won a winner-take-all in extra innings on the road. 2018 Rockies against the Cubs, 2016 Cubs in a World Series game against the Indians, and in 1980 the Phillies in a National League Championship Series game against the Astros. Okay, now I have 2 polls going up on Twitter and Facebook. One of them is very simply, do you criticize Davey Roberts for keeping Clayton Kershaw in the game? Maeda came in, the right-hander. I can understand, somebody saying, well, maybe Maeda should have come in to face Rendon, and then Kershaw should have come in to face No, this is Clayton Kershaw. But there have been, right now on the poll, the results are, and by the way, the results, I put up a poll last week. Who's going to win the series, the Braves or the Cardinals? 66% said the Braves. Who's going to win the series, the Dodgers and the Nationals? 64% said the Dodgers. So much for polls. People criticize, what kind of poll is this? Come on, Lenny. But on the latest poll, the question was, should Dave Roberts be criticized for leaving Clayton Kershaw in? 60% said no, 40%. There's no way you criticize for putting Kershaw in the game. That's my opinion on that. Good morning to DK Lush. Good morning to you all. Thank you so much for being here, okay? It's a big day here, and I'll tell you why it's a big day, okay? It's a big day because we picked up Kevin Hastings from the airport yesterday, spent the entire day with Kevin. What a gentleman, what a great guy. We had a great time, and we'll be seeing Kevin today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, the whole deal, okay? So it's going to be really, really terrific. And Kevin came up with a great question, okay? A great question. Jack Flaherty has allowed 3 earned runs or less in 18 consecutive starts. He has a 1.13 in that during that span. But here's the question. When the Cardinals jump out to a 10-run lead in the top of the first, should Jack Flaherty have been removed as the starting pitcher from the Cardinals and held off to pitch game number 1 of the World Series? Kevin Hastings brought that up yesterday in the car, and the question is, with the Cardinals scoring 10 runs in the top half of inning number 1, should they have changed starting pitchers to allow Flaherty to pitch in the first game of the World Series? What do you think about that? I mean, even if the Dodgers came back to erase that 10-run deficit, you still couldn't have blamed the manager for doing it. So, big question. I think a great question supplied by Kevin. Fantastic question by Kevin. The other poll I have up there is Yadier Molina a Hall of Fame player? Is Yadier Molina a Hall of Fame player? I'd like to hear your votes on that one. Actually, 70% of the population, it's about 60 people, have said yes. So is Yadier, I think you got to be a real baseball fan to answer this question. On the surface, his numbers don't ring the bell, but is Yadier Molina a first-round player? That's the question of the day. Okay, for that. Look, Yadier, 94 career postseason games. That passed Chipper Jones for the most postseason games by any player as a National Leaguer in postseason history. And his 94th game is the most postseason games played by a National Leaguer in history. As simple as that. Does that make him a Hall of Famer just with that? So, pretty interesting to see that Yadier Molina's status. I never thought when Yadier started playing first couple of years, just until recently, I never thought of Yadier Molina as a Hall of Famer. Of course, all the numbers, the framing, the throwing out, all that stuff, that wasn't taken quite as seriously as it is now, defensively as a catcher. But Yadier, also the spirit of the club, how much does that play in making a player a Hall of Famer? It was the first time the Braves have allowed 10 or more runs in the first inning of any game, regular season or postseason, since 1925. Unholy Toledo and I were at that game. We left after the second inning. It was against the Brooklyn Robins. Holy cow. Even I never heard of that one. Okay. So today they scored the Cardinals. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. 10 runs in the first inning. The most runs in the first inning in a Major League playoff history. It also ties for the most runs in any postseason all time, okay? But the question is, was there a reason to waste Jack Flaherty at this point, okay? Let him pitch in Game 1 of the National League Championship Series, but and Kevin Hastings brought that up. Tremendous, okay? 3 earned runs or less in 18 consecutive starts. Should they have kept him in with a 10-run lead in the first inning? Good morning to Phil Chaplin, all right? Greg says for sure on Yachty, so we'll see. Once again, good morning to Beach Bum and Greg and DK Lush and Malpal and Meckert. And Michael the Itch is here. The Itch in your kitchen table, Phil Chaplin and Unholy Toledo. Good morning to you all. We are reporting live from the great state of Arizona for the Arizona Fall League. It's beginning tonight. All right, so Kershaw, another postseason low blow. He gave way to Kenta Maeda. Maeda buried the next three batters, sliders away, and it wondered. There are some people questioning Dave Roberts for not bringing in Maeda to face Anthony Rendon. Okay, score 3-3. It held to the bottom of the eighth, and then bingo. Joe Kelly came. It's just, do you criticize Roberts for leaving in Clayton Kershaw? I don't see how anybody could be criticized for leaving in Clayton Kershaw in any game. I don't know, but what do you guys think? Yep, the Cardinals, 13 runs against the Braves in the National League Division Series Game 5, the second most runs by a team in a winner-take-all game in postseason history. The most runs were the Braves in 1996 against the Cardinals, so the Cardinals make up for that. So that's what we got there. The only big question is, should the Cardinals have removed Jack Flaherty when they had that 10-run outburst in the first inning? On to the Nats and the Dodgers. The Nationals trailed by 3 runs in the National League wild card game. They came back to win as they did the same thing against the Dodgers. First team in history to come back from 3 or more runs down when facing elimination. They did it twice in this postseason. Howie Kendrick, 14 years in the major leagues. You remember when Howie Kendrick came up? There was talk about Kendrick. He's going to win the batting title. A pure hitter. Pure hitter, Howie Kendrick. But he never has hit a grand slam home run in a 9-inning game. But he hit it in 2017. He hit a home run in the 11th inning. Now, in the 10th inning, an October grand slam that will be flying for the rest of his life. First visiting player in history to hit an extra inning grand slam during a postseason game. His second extra inning grand slam in postseason history. The other one was Nelson Cruz. Remember in 2011, he hit that walk-off grand slam in Game 2. That's right. Walk-off home run in Game 2. And extra inning home runs in winner-take-all games. Remember Aaron Boone with the walk-off in 2003. Remember Edwin Encarnacion, the walk-off in 2016. And Howie Kendrick hit one last night. Howie Kendrick has been a clutch hitter. Never really lived up to the high expectations that he had when he came into the league as a potential not Hall of Famer, but batting title winner. Anthony Rendon and Juan Soto, only the second pair of Nationals with back-to-back home runs in the postseason. The others were Ryan Zimmerman and Adam LaRoche. They did it in 2012. Okay, so there you go. The Nationals are only the second team in Major League Baseball postseason history to hit back-to-back home runs to tie a game in the 8th inning or later. And if you go back to 1976, you'll remember that George Foster and Johnny Bench did that in the 9th inning. So here we are. We're meeting tonight. Kenny Flamia is here. Good morning to Kenny, as we will be meeting this evening to have a meet and greet tonight. Watching a kind of lackluster performance by the Arizona Fall League as far as star talent is concerned. We watched for the 4th or 5th time Joe Adele yesterday. Look, he just looks good. Even when he strikes out, he looks good. I kind of like the kid, but the player that Andrea has discovered, and she was a little annoyed to find out that I talked about him last week. All right, I'm just telling her now. Brandon Marsh, right? That's the guy. Keep an eye out for this guy, Brandon Marsh. He could be the emerging player from the Arizona Fall League. Yep, Brandon Marsh. You just put it in the chat room. That son of a gun. Try to say it before me. 2 of the 4 100-win teams, the Twins and the Dodgers, are out of it. The Astros become 3rd home team to lose a decisive Division Series Game 5 this year. But look, so if you want to look at that, it looks like the Yankees are becoming more of the World Series favorites than any team. Astros, there's some that say the Astros look scared. It's going to be a great night. And talking to Buck Davidson, who is a photographer here, great friend, he lives in Tampa, and he talks about the real truth about why the Tampa fans don't come out to the ballpark. And it's not that the stadium is so bad, it's the location. We've known about it. It's in a shady area, but there's no public transportation to get to these Tampa games. And he says by the time, for a day game, you get home at 7:30, 8 o'clock. It's just very hard to manipulate navigating to the games and after the games without public transportation. Poorly planned, certainly by the Tampa team. Okay? So the Nats and the Cardinals going to be playing on Friday, Game 1 at Busch Stadium. Andy has been rooting for the Cardinals tremendously, and here's the reason. Okay? Now, Andy, as you know, the female wardrobe is second to none, but she mostly has Cardinal jerseys. She's got about, 6 or 7 different kinds of Cardinal jerseys. So, and she hasn't worn them all, and that's her reason for rooting for the Cardinals. All right, that's a real baseball fan. Remember, after 50 games, the Nationals were 19-31. Dave Martinez was sure to be fired. All right, they even remember at the trade we talked about, should Max Scherzer be traded? All right, so just some fantastic comeback by the Nationals, who were and this is without Bryce Harper. So how good is Bryce Harper? Should we hold this against Bryce Harper, that the Nats make the run the year after they trade him, in the year that they traded him? So we'll see. The Dodgers remain without a title since 1988, eliminated and relying on Clayton Kershaw too long in relief. Some people say that they should have put Jansen in, whose season-long problems obviously scared Dave Roberts from using his closer. Instead, in the extra inning game, Roberts turned to Joe Kelly. So what does that say about Kenley Jansen for next year, all right? You would think that Kenley Jansen was the guy to be put in. And once again, does anybody think that the Cardinals should have taken Flaherty out when they had the 10-run lead in the first inning? Okay, that's the big deal. Okay, yeah, Marsh went from rookie ball to Double-A, and just keep an eye on this kid. He's a power hitting. He can absolutely. All right, he can absolutely. I got your email, Malpal. I will read it right after the broadcast. Okay. Excited to see the Malpal on Tuesday morning. Okay, that's going to be a good one. All right. So anyway, so the Dodgers remain without a title. Joe Kelly comes in instead of Kenley Jansen. You got to give it to Steven Strasburg and his ability to really hang tough through that. After 3 quick runs were allowed, and you can't undersell that. You know, he's had such a great year, but hanging in there. Giving up a couple of runs real early, so we'll see. And it's interesting that the Dodgers, they invested very heavy in 2 free agents in the last offseason. A.J. Pollock benched after going 0-12 with 10 strikeouts in the division series. Joe Kelly just served up that grand slam. Holy cow. That's right. Andrew remembers Joe Kelly. Max, I don't know why, but we'll find out. Max Muncy came into the game 0 for 12 and 15 plate appearances against Steven Strasburg. That's the most plate appearances Max Muncy had against any pitcher without getting a hit. And what happens? He hits that home run in the first inning. Unbelievable. That's baseball. The Nationals now become the 4th team to win a winner-take-all game in extra innings on the road. The Dodgers did it in 2018. Cubs did it against the Indians, and the Phillies did it back in 1980 against the Astros. And I'll tell you something. 13th winner-take-all extra inning postseason game. And at 20 years old, Juan Soto is the youngest player to hit a home run off Clayton Kershaw in the regular season or the postseason. How about that? Soto now is the fifth player in postseason history with multiple home runs in a single postseason at age 20 or younger. You got Soto, you got Rafael Devers, who hit 2 home runs last year. Not last year, 2000. Was it the year before, I think? All right, Miguel Cabrera, Andrew Jones, and Mickey Mantle have all done that. Multiple home runs in a single postseason, all right, at age 20 or younger. And I'll tell you something else. Soto picked a heck of a time for the longest home run of his career, 449 feet off of Clayton Kershaw. That's longer than any other home run he had hit in his career to this point, regular season or the playoffs. How about that one? It was the second time Clayton Kershaw allowed back-to-back postseason home runs. Remember? Back in 2017, he gave up a home run to Ketel Marte and Jeff Mathis in the National League Division Series in the 7th inning to start the 7th inning. And his postseason pitching, 9 2/3 innings pitched as a reliever in the postseason. He has a 2.79 with 3 earned runs allowed. But he's got an 0.93 whip and a 125 opponent's batting average. But as a starter, he is 4.4 ERA in the postseason. So, do you criticize Roberts for keeping in Clayton Kershaw in this ballgame? Andy, what do you think? Do you criticize Roberts? The Itch, White Sox Al, has joined us. Good morning to White Sox Al. So, good morning to everybody. The Beach Bum, and Greg, and DK Lush, and Mal Pal, Meckert, Michael the Itch. Tito Luna has joined us. Good morning, Tito. Phil Chaplin, Unholy Toledo, White Sox Al. Great for the great. Chappie is here. Chappie. Good morning to Chappie. Walker Buehler, the first pitcher in the postseason history with at least 7 strikeouts in each of his first 6 career postseason games, but his scoreless inning streak officially ended at 21 2/3 inning. That's the 4th longest scoreless streak in the history of Major League Baseball by a pitcher 25 years or younger. Babe Ruth, Christy Mathewson, and Madison Baumgartner are guys who have done that before. So, in very good company. And it's the 3rd time that Cody Bellinger had multiple stolen bases in a game, and that's including the postseason. Last time he did it was in 2018. All right? And it's the first time the Braves had allowed 10 or more runs in the first inning of any game since, as we mentioned before, the 1925 Brooklyn Robins. Fultonowicz, 7th pitcher in postseason history to start with a 1/3 of an inning in a winner-take-all game. I got to tell you, not a good outing by Fulty. Not a good outing. Luis Severino had a bad outing like that back in 2017. And some other news that the Joey Bart here in the Arizona Fall League, the catcher for the Giants, he broke his thumb after being hit by a pitch in the Arizona Fall League. So his Arizona Fall League has ended. He won't be in the All-Star game Saturday night. And entering Thursday in Houston, the Tampa Rays have won 4 straight potential elimination games on the road. That goes back to 2010, and that ties the 4th longest streak in postseason history. The only streak that's longer is the Giants in 2012. The Yankees did it, the Cardinals did it, and that's pretty much about it. So those are all the big highlights, okay? All the big highlights. Everything that you wanted to know about this playoff series, and tonight the Astros go against. Is it tonight? Is tonight's game? Astros go against. Yeah, what a game that's going to be. All right. Sincere thanks to everybody for joining us in the chat room. These for the next couple of days, the podcast could be cut a little short. Instead of doing the 40-minute podcast, we're gonna do whatever it takes to get you the information. And tomorrow we start going over positions. First base in the National League, we'll start doing that, and we'll keep it going. Thanks to everybody for being here. Up on the schedule, I'd like to say that I really know what's going on, but we got Arnie at 10 o'clock. Hopefully Arnie will be here. Chappie at 7 o'clock. And then Fantasy Fisticuffs football tonight at 11. That's on the schedule, but check your local listings. Come on over here and find out and try to support everybody. Really much appreciated. Sincere thanks to everybody, and we will see you again tomorrow.